Yeah, hello, good morning, everyone. Um, I would like to especially welcome all of you and thank you all for joining very early to today's program. I would just and we'll get other people joining for, and then once it's 11:05, we'll start. Thank you.
Come on, wake up! I got through! I got through!
Okay, good morning, everyone. All right, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session. And I'm glad to have you all here as early as possible. So, even though this is the final day of the GDSC ULAG Career Series Week, and this is a series of events that was this is a series of events that was organized or that is being organized to help developers and student developers bridge the gap between learning and working in the industry. So we've been having some events. We started from Friday last week, and on Friday we talked about career growth as student developers, and then we had a following event the next day, which was on Saturday, which addressed resumes and cover letters. And we had an event yesterday, which was Monday, to talk about passing interviews for big tech jobs, as how to ace find interviews. And then we have today, which is our final event on freelancing. For those of us that are joining for the first time, or for people who would like to rewatch this event, the event is recorded and they will be provided right after the end. That is right after the final session. You have the recordings to everything, and we make them available to everyone who is part of the local chapter. So, for those of us who are expecting the recordings, you can subscribe to our page on YouTube, which I'll be dropping the link right now. You can subscribe to our page on YouTube where we'll be posting the playlist of all the events, and then you will get like turn on the notifications, and then you get um when the video comes out, which is most likely tomorrow morning. And straight into today's event. Today's event is on freelancing. So if you've heard about freelancing, or you want to know if you are suitable to go into freelancing, or you have some questions about freelancing, today's session is specifically on freelancing, and it is a session where we have two refer to them as two very prominent freelancers as our guest speakers, and they'll be here in form of like a panel session to answer whatever questions that you have about freelancing, how to get into it, how to um, upgrade and get to level where you are comfortable, or it is your primary source of income and things like that. Whatever questions you have, either from like trying out, or either from having tried out before but didn't get through, or you are currently working as a freelancer and you have questions that you want to ask concerning what upgrading, or like let's say staying relevant in your career, this is the session for you. So I would go ahead and introduce our speakers for today. This is going to be like a form of a panelist session where you have them here to answer your questions. I'll be asking some questions of my own, and I would like to encourage everybody, um, whatever questions you have, the questions you prepared before the event, or questions that stem right out of the discussions that we're having, please drop them on the group chat. I'll take note of them, and I will make sure that your question gets to the speakers. So I would like to call up on our first member of the panel session, which is Olaifa Boluatife. Boluatife is a software engineer at Yokundo, and is also a blockchain enthusiast, and he's a freelancer also. He has worked with like various freelancers. So, Ola, please can you say hi?
Um, Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good
So,
morning,
as
Ola.
he said, my name is Olaifa Boluwatife. My social media handles mostly is Buster, so that's how it is. So, he has said everything basically. Um, I'm a software engineer, so then my stack is just the general stack, the JavaScript, Golang, and some bits of blockchain in it. That's just it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ola. It's nice to have you here. And the second speaker for the call is Joshua Okwe, and he is a product designer from Lagos. He's also a very good freelancer and a very good friend and person. So Joshua, can you say hi?
Hi, good morning. My name is Joshua, and I'm a product designer, like you said, from Lagos, Nigeria. I started designing things like years ago, but right now I'm just freelancing full time. I'm not working for anybody full time. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Joshua. It's nice to have you here on the call. So I'll proceed to start with the session.
Sorry, did you say anything?
No, sorry, yeah. Um, so I'll start just to give us a good feel about the work you do. Can you please tell us about your the work you do, like your everyday freelancing or the work you do, and what platforms you use? Just give us like a more in-depth introduction into the kind of work you do.
Sure. So last year, 2020, during the pandemic, I was working at a company, startup company, and due to funding issues, the company was dissolved, and everybody had to go their separate ways. And I wasn't ready to go back into working for a company anymore as at that time. So I decided to go into freelance full time. And then working as a freelancer just means that instead of me having to sign the contract with the company where you pay me monthly, all I need to do is just like get someone who wants to do something and then strike a contract with him that I'm going to get it done for him within a particular time, and then this is how much I'll get paid for that. And yeah, that's what my work does. Basically, that's basically what I do. Just get someone who gives me a job and tell him we get this done in like 2 3 months, and then agree on a fee. And when I'm done, he pays me, and that contract is over. So I'm not tied to the company. I don't get paid monthly. But I get paid based on our agreement, and the time of the project is also based on our agreement. And all of this is based on the type or the nature of the project we're taking on. So that's what my day-to-day activities like.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joshua. Thank you. Um, yeah, Buluwatife, you can go next.
Okay. Yeah. Initially, as most of us here, we are self-taught as developers most times. So initially, we might have challenges and navigating the space and probably getting our first job. So I think that was what pushed me to starting freelancing initially. So I just thought of it, no jobs. I'm starting from scratch, building stores myself, personal projects. I was getting tired and wanted to try out new products, new jobs, new exposures. So I got on to Upwork mainly. I got onto Upwork. And before then, I've been using Fiverr for a while, but then it was tiring. So I got onto Upwork, created an account, set it up to some extent, and the clients I get they are mainly hourly. They are mainly hourly. Most times, sometimes I get fixed projects. So but then they are mostly rated hourly. We talk. So maybe the contracts will last for probably 2 3 months, 4 months. Some even extend more than that, depending on how they like the work and how they are willing to proceed. But then it's hourly mainly. So that's been my schedule for the whole year. Let me just say from January till now. That's how I've been moving.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you very much, Buluwatife. So let me just put this question out there. So um, from both of you's experiences, you both had experiences working as developers with companies, and then we also have like experiences working with working as freelancers. So let me just ask, for any reason, if you do freelance full time for any reason, is there a particular like scenario that can push you back into the normal 9 to 5 life? And what are your thoughts about like switching? Like apart from freelancing, would you go back at one point?
Yes. Freelancing has its advantages actually, but then apart from some few drawbacks, freelancing is good. What made me think of getting a normal full-time job was that there was inconsistency at some point. You know, where the stage gets to where you have to set your budget right, you have to get your finances in control. There's this kind of scattered schedules when you are trying to get your finances in control when doing freelancing. So I think that's a very, very great challenge, because when you're doing a normal job, you know the amount that is entering a month, you have a specified salary that you're collecting, nobody is touching it. But in freelancing, you get what you agree upon, or even based on what you work on. Sometimes in a week, if you don't work more than 1 hour, you only get paid for 1 hour. So if you don't work for 2 weeks, you're not getting paid for 2 weeks. That's the challenges there. And if you take off, you decide to take off and go on vacation or anything, you can't do that with freelancing. You are definitely not getting any money. And in most companies in tech, there are advantages or employment advantages, I can call them. You get these health benefits, you get time off times, you get some incentives. But as a freelancer, you don't get any of those. You have to make those yourself. You have to just create them yourself. So you get stocked up in like more of burnouts. You have more of burnout than a normal software engineer working with a company, because you're always curious about what if I stop this thing, another one doesn't come. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So from what I understand from you, like, um, there are situationships that like there are scenarios that can still cause you to like shift what it has to offer. Good. So, what about you, Carol?
Okay, so one thing about freelancing is that the money you earn is not constant. The money you earn is based on a lot of factors. Could be on based on if you have jobs at the moment, you earn. If you have no jobs at the moment, no money for you. Also based on the factor like how long the project is taking. Sometimes the project might take longer than you estimated or longer than you wanted it to take. There might be delays based on changes or based on the client is not responding. Some clients can just ghost, they will not respond for a long time till when they feel like responding. And there's a lot of things that happen. And when those things come into play, you won't basically that period you won't have money. Unlike when you're working at a full-time job, that you know that by the end of the month you always get your money, regardless of how far the project has been going, regardless of the delays, regardless of whatever is happening in the project, you always get your money by the end of the month. But in freelance, it doesn't work like that. You get your money when you've completed a milestone or when you completed the project. Unless in very few cases you're working to be paid per the time you spend on the project. So you can actually work on the project and be paid per hours or per day or per month. But it's in a very rare, it's a very rare scenario and it's a very rare case. And even in those scenarios, even in those cases, the client can still ghost. The client can still just not respond or hold up on the project, or something can just happen and then the project is on hold and that's it. You have to start looking for a new project to keep you afloat till you have money back. So yeah, that's how it happens in freelancing.
Okay, thank you very much, Carol. But from like your explanations about not having like a static income and stuff like that, like I would like if you could point out like if that is actually a disadvantage or not, because sometimes you find out that like there are some freelancers who actually don't make money like every month like a static amount, but then accumulating all what they've done throughout the year, they can still like topple a lot of people who have like a full-time job and the static salary and they're getting that money every month. So like what will you say about that?
Um,
Yes, definitely. You can earn more as a freelancer than someone who's working in a full-time job. If you're going to like accumulate or if you want to take register or note down all your income and calculate all of that and compare to someone who's working a full-time job, you might earn more. But there's a difference between when you're getting like 100K once and when you're getting 20 k every month. So most times if you get 100K once and you have like 3 months to go, you have to be very smart financially to be able to share that money with other people. You just like spend everything the first month and you have to live off feeding from your hands in the next 2 months, which is most unlikely to happen to someone who earns like 20k every month. Even though you earn more technically, the person might look more financially buoyant than you do because you don't earn as regular as the person. So it depends on how well you're able to manage your money. That's how what makes it an advantage and disadvantage for you. It's not really about the amount you earn. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Karen. Um, Bulatife.
About that, like you said, I think it's more of self-control and sometimes consistency on your part. Because when you have self-control, you'll be able to like set your finances. Okay, sometimes you might decide that you don't want to be spending more than 50k a month. You start putting the money somewhere, then saving it for probably in times of wait. So stuff like that, it can help. And in the consistency part, you will know that okay, once you are doing one job, you might be looking for another at the same point. When you know this job is about to end, know your fate with them. Do they want to add more to the contract time or they want to quit? Then you can be looking for another job in the process. And sometimes you will have to take on two or more projects at a time, even though that can disturb your mental health. But then to some extent, you will have to do it. Because freelancing generally it will disturb your mental health. That's just it. Especially if you are working with some specific clients. So yeah, that's it. But then in terms of the price, you can actually maximize your income, and if work properly managed, you can yes earn more than someone in working as a full-time engineer.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, like from what I've gathered, there's like this type of discipline that is different from when you have like a full time job. Like there's a discipline in like your time, in like setting the days. Like there's a different kind of discipline with being a freelancer in terms of like finances, managing time, setting all those deadlines, making sure that you meet them, learning to make sure that you don't overwork yourself, or if you're overworking yourself, you know how to manage everything and stuff like that. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Like you want to say something about that?
No, about that overworking, like it's something very hard actually to some extent because the more you are thinking that you have to save for the bad times, the more you work and the more you get drained and the more you get burnout. So that's a very crucial thing about it.
Okay. Um, thank you very much. So, apart from the before I go over to ask, I'm just curious. Like apart from the like the stressful side, apart from the stressful side, the burnout, the overworking, and then managing of finances and stuff. Just give us a tip of the iceberg of the good side, like maybe your biggest project, how much maybe it involved. Even if you don't, you might not need to go so deep into the project, but like how much was involved. Just like how it made you feel, like your experience and things like that.
So okay, so I'll say that first of all, the most should I say positive side about freelancing, the most best advantage of freelancing is that you are in control of your time. So you are in control of your time, meaning that you can share your time to do what you want when you want to do it. So if you want to go to the beach on a Monday morning, you can go to the beach on a Monday morning. You don't have to wake up feeling like you have to attend meetings or you have to go to the office, you have to enter traffic. And then you can work night if you don't want to work night, sleep in the morning, work on Sunday, play on Wednesday. You're in total control of your time. And that's one of the best advantages of freelancing. Unlike if you're working on 9 to 5, you know you have to resume when everybody resumes and you close when everybody closes. So it doesn't happen like that. And this gives you more control of how you work because if you're able to share your time properly and then you work when you want to work and you rest when you want to rest, you end up being, should I say, more productive than someone who works 9 to 5 because taking rest between your work, like instead of working at a stretch, taking rest and then resuming work later really helps than working at a stretch. If you're working 9 to 5, you're most probably working at a stretch from 9 to 5. But freelancing, it doesn't happen that way. You can take a nap, you can sleep for 2 hours before getting back to your work. And that's like one of the major advantages of freelancing. On the money side, again, if you your skill and you get a new contract, you can request for an advance. So unlike when you join a company for the first time, you know you have to work and wait till the end of the month before you get paid. So if you are, coming out from being broke or coming out from a deadly financial situation and you get one contract, even before you begin anything, you can ask for an advance. You can ask for 50% upfront, and then be able to do all you want to do with that before even starting the product at all. So those are the advantages of freelancing for me.
All right, that's great.
And on my side, with what he said, those are my advantages too. But then I noticed disadvantage when I started. You learn things faster and you gain your skills very fast than any other person. Because when you're working as a freelancer, you take on this project. Let's say initially the only thing you know was HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You take on this project. This project requires you to learn the framework. You learn it faster because the client is waiting for someone that can do it. You learn it faster, you gain skills faster. Maybe during the React project, you see that, okay, this project needs you to learn a UI component like Tailwind or Material UI. You pick it up, you learn it on the way. It will make you learn faster and gain extra skills. Within the span of 2, 3 months, you can learn a lot more than someone that has been coding for like probably a year. It's very, very possible. I think I remember initially when I started, I don't know more than Node.js. I was writing Node.js initially. But then on the first project, they made use of Jira. I've never heard of it before until that time. They made use of GitLab. I've never even used GitHub well, not to talk of GitLab. That was the first time of using it. They made use of lot of packages. RPGS, I was used with Express. They make use of RPGS. That's the first time I'm hearing of it. And lot of things like that. So it exposed me to a lot.
Great, great, great.
Yeah, I just want to say to add to what Bolu what he first said, just to emphasize on this point. Working when you're working in a 9 to 5 company, you're most probably working on one project for the time being in that company. You get if you're going to be employed as a product designer for baking app, you're going to be working on baking app while you're in that company for the how many number of years you stay in that company. If you're going to be working as a front end engineer for some website, that what you're going to be doing for the time you spend in that company. But freelancing kind of like gives you brings variety to your portfolio. So in a year, you can work on like 2, 3 different apps from 3 different industries, and this helps because when you're going to go back into the industry, if you're going to go back to look for a 9 to 5 job, or you're going to attend for something higher, and you need proof to show that you have experience in different sections of different industries in development or design, you want to show that your portfolio contains this different variety. And working at a 9 to 5 doesn't give you that option to include so many kinds of different projects in your portfolio. But if you work as a freelancer, you can do so. So yeah.
Yeah. I agree to that because initially when I said I only know Node, let's say I don't know React, but during the project I had to learn React because I had to do some front end work. And my current job currently, I'm writing React there. React that I learned unprepared. So like those things are they work hand in hand. That's just it.
Okay, that is great. So like working on like freelance jobs like gives you that extra like um project based learning where you learn quickly because you have to meet up and then it's very very good. That's very nice. So one of the things that freelancers starting out battle with mostly is getting their first job. I remember trying out of work. Yeah, there was a point in time where I just quit a job and I was like, "Ah, let me try this freelancing thing." Like I was cashing out dollars and I was like, "Ah, I can try it, so like I can code." And he doesn't even code, he does data entry, and then these companies are always calling me back like on one job. to put some things in Excel. Someone offered him 700, $900, and it was very nice. I was like, let me even try this. And I tried out Upwork, got my accounts accepted and things like that. Then getting the first job was very, very hard. I think I just stopped at some point and let me go back to my applying for jobs. It's way easier because I remember like the Upwork style has to do with like um, sending proposals to jobs that you see, and then the point where I had it all, like the point where I like stopped all that rubbish was I sent a proposal to a particular like job opening. I even reduced the price for the guy, regardless of the fact that the price was very small on Upwork. It was like a 7, 10, $15 kind of project, and I even reduced it, and then I gave him like I'll call it like suggestions on how he can improve his results and suggestions on how he can make the most out of this and things like that. And this guy took my proposal and used my suggestions to update the job description and didn't still kick me to the job. So that was that was where I closed up work and I've not gone back there. So how was your experience getting your first job, and how would you advise people go about getting their own first job?
First of all, never reduce the price that the client gives you. Don't reduce the price. If you don't want to, you can charge higher, but if you don't want to charge higher so you don't push him away, just accept the price that he put there. Don't reduce it. Reason is that first of all, you can't actually like know how every client will act. Different clients act differently because of different people. But we can just guess and predict and make assumptions. And we assume that if you reduce the price, if I want to do a project and I need it to be quality and I'm willing to offer 100K and you come with me saying that you do for 50, I might believe or think that you aren't as good enough as I want the project to be, because you cannot be good and be charging 50K for the project. So don't reduce the price. Now let's check that in first. Um, so how to get jobs on freelance? Let me say this: freelancing is really based on it's really based on reputation. It's most of my jobs I get as a freelancer are not even from Upwork or from Fiverr. In fact, people that I introduced to Upwork are doing way better than me on Upwork. Their profiles are like double what my profile is, because I'm not usually fixed on Upwork. Most of my jobs that I get personally are from referrals, are from people that have done job for in the past, or my friends who do someone come and meet them and be like, hey, we need a designer, and they'll be like, okay, I know someone, his name is Carol, and then someone texts me up on WhatsApp for out of the blue and just be like, hey, someone give me a contact, says you do product design. I need you to design an app for me. And that's how I get majority, like 80% of my jobs, that's how I get it. So if you want to start out if you want to start out freelancing, I think one of the first things you should do is announce yourself. Basically advertise yourself. It's not like random people, your friends, people on your contact list, people you know. Advertise, say that this is what I do. I do this thing. Like, be posting your job on your status, be posting your job on Twitter, be posting your job on Instagram, be posting it on LinkedIn, and try to get people aware of what you do, so that if anybody's looking for someone who has the skills, the person might not know you, a person might know your friend. And if you go to meet your friend and say, hey, I need a product designer, or I need a front end engineer, or I need a back end engineer, that person, the first thought that comes to that person's head is you, because you always post your own on status and always make noise of what you do. So I think that is a great way to start. First of all, announce yourself to whoever's around you, so if anybody approaches them, they can refer you in return. And secondly, is that when any job you've done for someone in the past, first of all, if you are just starting out from scratch, you might want to take on projects that you know that will not really add anything to your pocket, but might contribute to your portfolio. Okay, because having a good portfolio is good. But at the same time, if you've done job for people in the past and you did it very well, well, you did the job very good, it's likely that if anybody approaches those people for more jobs, they'll refer back to you and say, "Oh, I know this guy did something for me similar to what you want in the past, and he did very well." So you want to take every job you do very seriously. Every job you do for anybody, you want to take it very seriously, even if the person is not paying you enough. You don't have to compromise on the quality. What you could do is that you could reduce the scope, that reduce the number of things you're supposed to do so that it's beneficial, so that it's even and it's fair. But you don't compromise on quality because that quality job you do doesn't just end at when you submit. If you do quality job for someone and the person meets another person who needs a job, then the person can refer back to you and say, "This guy did something for me and it was really good." That's about getting from referrals, but also you could also use Upwork and you could use Fiverr. I don't recommend Fiverr because it's very stressful. I recommend Upwork. The problem with Upwork is that you need to submit a proposal to the person that needs the job, and you need to be as convincing. Your proposal needs to be as convincing as possible to tell the client that you can actually do the job. And most times, the client can give you job off your proposal only, but they also check your profile. And if your profile doesn't have any stats, it will be very hard to get your first job in Upwork. But the good part about it is that once you get your first, second, third job, it only gets easier because then your stats are adding up. And majority of the clients still judge freelancers from their stats, from how many jobs they've done, how much you've earned, etc. If you find it very hard to get job on Upwork, then what you could do is that you could get job physically, like from referrals from people you meet around in your area, and then you take them to Upwork. So you tell them that, okay, I will do this job for you, but you are going to pay me through Upwork rather than pay me physically. It might cost you a lot of money. So instead of to pay you 100K, you might receive 80K. But the benefit of that is that if you take the client to Upwork and set up the job on Upwork and then do the job via Upwork, the stats of that client will add to your Upwork stats. So if that might be your first job, the job that you did for someone, and it might not even be like a real client, it might be like a friend that just needs to help you and do something that's going to pay like 20, 50. When the job is done, he will give you 5 star. That already adds your Upwork profile. When you apply for jobs within Upwork again, that will contribute to it and that might make your job search much easier. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Carol. That was very, 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 very enlightening. Shogun, would like to add?
So I think we as developers, designers, the tech ecosystem generally, we tend to focus too much on our technical skills than the soft skills. And not knowing that the soft skills is actually what we get us the jobs that we need. Because the technical skills is like what will make us enter it, and the soft skills will get us to the door. Now, when you are creating you mentioned about the social capital generally. You tend to like when you know more people, you network with people, know more people, relate with them. That way, you get referrals. Now, you might not only use Upwork for getting jobs. LinkedIn is there. Twitter, as noisy as it sounds, has gotten people more jobs. Twitter is just the unconventional way of getting conventional jobs. You can get jobs from Twitter. Just a comment you throw on someone's post can get you jobs. I remember when someone posted on Twitter recently that, okay, tell us what you do in the comment section, and he said his own. What I just mentioned was that, okay, I'm a software engineer, just I'm hoping to do blockchain in future. And I got a call, I got a DM that, okay, am I interested in joining a blockchain company and stuff like that? And I was like, okay, what are you doing?
let me talk more about Upwork then. But before he gets back, I don't know where he is. So um, using Upwork, okay, obviously entails a lot of things. There's a lot going on Upwork. I might not be able to tell you everything in this session right here, but I really need you guys to maybe after the session you can find free articles online. You can find communities. You can find people who are willing to put you through Upwork. There are classes for Upwork. There's a friend of mine that also like hosts classes on Upwork too. So basically, there's many resources to look at. If you want to know how to set up a profile or send proposals on Upwork. But like Nigerians will say, it's all about packaging. It's not about package, it's how you know how to package yourself. You can package yourself well on this site, on Upwork, on social media, on LinkedIn. Some people are on LinkedIn, they probably borrow the suits and snap pictures. And right, I'm happy to announce I just got a job in where they never got a job in. It's just about packaging. And then if you can package yourself well on social media, on Upwork or whatever, you're most likely to attract clients who are looking for your kind of skills. And you should be also like very um what's the word now? Be very certain about what skill you really want to offer. So you don't just go on Upwork or wherever and just write web developer. Like you should be really like specific about what kind of web development you do, what languages you write, what exactly you do, and because if you just put like generic words on the internet, that won't help anybody looking for someone specific. For example, if I'm looking for someone who can do like the back end of my website using Go, for example, and someone just comes and like web development, and he just put like he writes back end using Go. How am I that he writes a back end using Go? Like that, and you I'm still go back after this call and search for like how to excel using Upwork or something, and you find so many tips and tricks online that will help you. Um, I don't think he's here yet. No, Bull what if will best answer that because I'm a product designer.
What do you say, please? I can't hear you clearly.
Check the chat. Says, do I need to master a framework before starting looking for jobs? Before I start looking for jobs.
Mostly before because of the framework issue. Most times, most times you just have to do the thing with what you currently know. And before you learn frameworks, just try to learn the basics. You don't try to learn everything at once. Learn the basics for a few days. Take on the basics. You don't need to know everything about the framework. You hear material, you see you don't know material, so you will not take gigs. No, 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 no. You don't do that. So when you learn the basics of the frameworks, okay, let's say you want to learn one now, you want to learn React, you know states. You don't know Redux before, but you know states. You know normal basic state management. You can do this, set states, all these things, you can do them easily. So far you can do them. Then build a project that shows that you can do them. So you don't need to learn everything before you start looking for jobs. As far as you can do that, and you can confidently say that you can do it, the main thing is just the confidence. The confidence, that's just it. And like Carol said, is more of like fake it till you make it. But then in the process of faking it, don't try to set yourself up. So fake it till you make it. So when you get the job, try to live up to what you fake. That's just it.
Thank you both, Carol and Bolu. Sorry if anybody noticed I dropped off. I was having some connection issues. But for what I was able to get out of the enlightened discussion is that the reputation is very, 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 very important as a freelancer, and you should put yourself out there, find out ways to show your work. So it doesn't really matter whether you are an introvert or an extrovert. Just find out ways to put your work there, put it on your status, send posts to the community group. I built this, please kindly check it out. And that way you always like stay on top of people's mind when they're referring to a particular thing. Like when anybody hears blockchain, they're always talking about this guy that's always posting it on Twitter, always posting on status and stuff like that. Even things I don't know about, like no code. If you ask me about no code, I'll just quickly direct you to one guy I know that's always posting about no code. He's a friend of mine, and that's how referrals work. And then they are very, 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 very important. So I'll move over to this question, and I would like if like both of you can give like a focus on it, even though like you've mentioned hints in the past that answer this question, but like I want like a focused answer on it, and that is how do you ensure to retain clients? So they've referred you, you've done the work. How do you make sure that you retain these guys, that they come back with more money, more work, and then even when like you want to follow the demand and supply economics thing and you increase the price, they still want you. How do you get to that level?
Okay, about about that. If it's not even about getting to the level, like I said, it's just part of the soft skills. Okay, around few weeks ago, I got an issue with my system. I was unable to work for like 2 weeks. But then I went to meet the freelance the client I'm working with. Okay, this is what happened. This is what is happening to my system. This is how I'm planning to solve it. Very soon I will resume back to your work. I mean, the communication is very, very necessary. So his mind is at rest, and it's better that it's better that way than me ghosting him and and him. You keep wondering why this is happening. Things like that can make a client lose confidence in you or probably in your skills. So you have to communicate well, and in some aspects you have to like break down some things for them to understand so that they won't feel dumb. There are some clients that don't know about code at all. So you have to tell them the reason why you are doing this feature. The reason why you are doing this feature, you are following the way you are following. So they will have the confidence that, okay, if I give him this feature, then he will be able to handle it. So, but there are some clients that know how to code. When you are brainstorming together, you just have to tell him that this is the best way. Why is it the best way? I think during those conversations, you tend to keep clients that way. That's just it.
Okay.
So what I would say is, first of all, I spoke about repetition in the past, and I said repetition is very important. Meaning that if you're going to do any job today, you have to make sure you do the job as good as you can do it. Do an excellent job, and then doing an excellent job will make the client come back to you, or refer somebody else come back to you in the future. But to be honest with you, many clients are insane. You will not want half of your clients to come back. To be honest, that's just the truth. So, what you want to do is that you can always avoid these people. Be very clear from the start what the job is about. Just be very clear. What are we doing? What am I going to be doing? How much am I going to be paid? How long do I have to do this project? Be very clear about those things. And if most probably you can have a contract that some of you go ahead to sign that will make sure that you guys follow the rules and you guys do not cheat each other and things go well within the project. Because many of these things turns out to be just misunderstanding and miscommunication that ends up bringing problem and everything goes southways and they will not work with you again. So just be very clear from the start what you're doing with the client. And if the client doesn't agree to your own terms, then let him go. I mean, you won't die for being broke. Just let him go. Yeah, don't bother to take on the project, because if you do take on the project and then you fail to fulfill the terms of that project because it doesn't really work well with you, and that will put a stain on your white agbada, and then that client will go to tell your other friends that this guy is an asshole, but you're not really an asshole. You just don't agree to system. So be very clear of that. What you said, communication is extremely important. And I know that sometimes you might be afraid to inform your clients. For example, you might have told the client that you had the delay, you're going to do it on Monday, the Monday it gets to Monday, and then you have another delay. And then you kind of be like afraid to speak to the client because you don't know how to tell him that you have another delay. Let me tell you the truth. The truth is that you're in your house. He cannot come to your house and beat you. Just tell him. Tell him, and he might be upset, he might be angry, he might shout, but it's better if you tell him than to not tell him and try to wait till he figures it out on himself. If he figures out that you said on Monday and Monday has ended and you did not call him and he has to call you, then that's the problem. That is a way bigger problem. So you want to avoid that at all costs. No matter the fear of or the stigma of you talking to your client, just try to overcome it and try to talk to your client when you need to. It's really important. Most times the client will not even be as upset as you thought you will be upset. That's just the truth. Most times you won't be upset at all. It's just all in your head. Then Vuluat also spoke on something which I've forgot. I wanted to share more light on it too, but I've forgotten the other point he made. I don't know. So yeah, I think I think that is it about bringing clients back to to work with you or to work with other people that the client might refer. Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Thank you very
will I would like to add something to that. Now, before you can collect a job, let's say the money is much and you're attracted to the money, you want to collect the gig. Most times you have to step back and look at the job. Is the time frame okay? Because because you can some people can come now that okay, they want to finish these products within 3 weeks and they want to complete it. They are the one pressuring you, but if everything goes wrong, it will be on you. That's what you put in mind. So you have to put in mind that okay, truly, they want to pay me 900K for these 3 weeks, but will I be able to finish it? If I did not finish it, then 900K has gone. So you have to tell them, you have to be realistic with them. Because if anything goes wrong, they will not see they are the one pressuring you. So that's it.
much. Okay. Thank you very much, Karambili. So I'll just ask another question. At the first day of the career series, I had someone share his experience on freelance fraud. He had this job to do, and the client promised to pay $5K when he was done, and he was expecting the money so much, and the 100K he had with him, he blew it off like as per $5K is coming. What's that? And he used that one to flex to live Lagos life. And then at the end of the day, the client sent a fake invoice after he had been done with the job and everything. So, how do you battle fraud when you get to the freelance space? How do you battle fraud and someone obviously just trying to like use you in the freelance space?
First thing is never start a project without a contract, without a written contract. Never start anything without a written contract. And if you want to do a project of 2 months, and the client tells you, okay, at the end of everything, I'll pay you your money. Don't agree. You just tell them that, okay, after 2 weeks, pay me 25%. Okay, you've collected the 25%. Okay, after 2 weeks again, pay me another 25. Then you can leave the rest for the end of the job. So that's how it should be. You don't wait for the end of the job before you collect your total money. If not, you will get scammed over and over again. Because put in mind that anybody that is coming your way is ready to scam you. That's just it. So
50%. That's 50% before anything. How much is the project? 500K. You're paying 250 first. I'm not far. I won't touch that project until you pay me my 250 first. Before
exactly.
you even start. So just
Exactly.
50%. Clients will drag, clients will not agree. Clients will say, no, I can't really pay out of 500. Let me pay 100 first. Let me pay 200 first. No, 50% first before anything. And after you pay 50%, like they can pay you can split the other fees as the project continues. Like you can pay the rest at the end. Doesn't matter. Just shackle your 50% first. A friend of mine will even collect like 80% first before he starts, and he believes that 80% is the money that is going to take for the project. So the other 20% he can forgive it if it doesn't come. But yeah, just take me. I'll avoid 50% first, all times, every time.
Wow, that's really I had a lot of. Okay, that's good. That's good. So someone has a question on the chat, and I'll just read it out, and then we can take it. So we have Duru Sly, according to the name there. Landing a first job is really difficult. Some of us, like myself, are very skilled but lack the portfolio to prove this. I am training myself in school, so I find it difficult to start building side projects because I work on I work on only the things that give me money. So how do I establish dominance in the market? Uh,
Okay, I think I'll take on that. So your dominance in markets. Number one, before picking anything to learn, check the market. Check how needed it is. There is this framework issue on Twitter that go happen. React, Vue, Angular, people will be shouting, the hype, blockchain. Everyone says whatever they feel is good for them. But then you have to look at it yourself. What is the dominance of this thing I'm learning? How fast can I get a job with it? What is the competition? Normally, normally, the usual step is for people to learn React, learn everything, and probably get the React gig. But then, through your own research, you can discover that Angular might be the best for you, because when you check the job market, you see that the competition is not much. The demand is high, the pay is high. So you check the dominance, and you make sure you don't follow hype. You don't follow hype of everything, of anything at all. So when you are checking that now, you make sure that you hype yourself as usual. Go to LinkedIn, follow people. You don't only follow developers if you are a developer. You follow HRs, you follow recruiting managers, you follow people like that. So, and on the fact that you are in school, well, I think most of us here we are in school, obviously. We are in school, and me too, I'm in school. So, and I don't know if I'm supposed to state this, but I'm currently studying a medical course. So, which doesn't give me much time. But then you just have to build these side projects. I mean, this thing is just your extra skill. Is what will make you different from others. So while others are probably sleeping for 8 to 10 hours, you just pick 2 3 hours to build something. You don't have to rush it. So that's just it. So to get whatever you make will make you money, you have to check the market very well, study the market to some extent, and pick the necessary skills. Yes, there will be conflicts between what you actually like and what you are doing. Because the reason that made me learn React Native was because of gig. I needed gig and I needed money. So I learned React Native. Of course, I don't really like it, but then it's bringing me money. So who am I not to like it? That's it.
What I would say is that you said only waiting to give you money to work on now, which is not a bad thing. You don't necessarily need a side project, but you should make sure that the projects that you do, like the ones that give you money, the real projects that you do, they are meaningful projects. They are projects that you actually want to do, not projects you're doing because of money. Even if you want to do because of money, you can add meaning to the project. So, for example, um, someone might come with a project for me, and they tell me he wants to do this and this and that. I look at the project and feel like this project is not doesn't really make sense. I don't. This guy just wants to waste money. Those kind of projects, I might not accept them. I might accept, especially if the budget is low. I won't accept them because not only do they not give money, I have nothing to my portfolio. There are projects that I have done that I cannot add on or show on my portfolio because of how useless they are. But you could also charge higher. You could charge higher and then add value to the project. For me, I can charge higher and then see how I can transform. I can transform the project to make more sense, make more meaning to it. Um, that's like that's like a side project with a real project because I'm adding my own stuff to whatever the project is, and then that project becomes meaningful, and I'm able to showcase that project. So if you don't have time to work on side projects, you can work on projects that gives you money, but just make sure those projects are meaningful, are projects that you are willing to showcase on your status or to your friends on your portfolio. To establish dominance in the market is a different thing. To establish dominance in the market is not easy. It's not a 1 year thing, it's not a 2 year thing. Is that means you've done a lot of jobs and you have built some high reputation. That's how you establish dominance in the market. So that has to do with consistency, and constantly delivering quality jobs time and time over again. So yeah.
okay, thank you very much. So, especially Bulu, can you like let us know how best, like considering the fact that you're doing a very stressful course. I mean, I look at medical students like the only thing they do is read. Not my fault though, but like I had a medical friend who purposely don't go for holidays. Like he stays back to read for the next semester right after the exam of the first one. So like um how best, so I'm guessing that you found out a lot of like hacks and tricks that helps you with managing time and also working freelance even as a medical student doing school and also working on all these jobs and things like that. So how well can you like advise students who have like things to do and who also want to work on freelance jobs? How best can you like advise them to like fit in times with both things, like to manage a balance?
That's a very difficult one. Now, starting from where you mentioned that some students stay back to read. The main problem everyone has is time management. And there are so many factors that can influence the time management. Imagine there's no light, I don't have a generator, and I want to work. How will I do it? So I have to twist my time to whenever there's light because we're in Nigeria. So the time management is very shitty. So this is what I do most times. I have this kind of 6 hourly rule that I make use of. We have 24 hours in a day, then I split them into four. 6 hours for my sleeping, 6 hours for anything related to school, 6 hours dedicated to coding and anything related to my personal development, and the other 6 hours for life sustaining activities like eating, talking to friends, and things like that. So I've been trying to follow it actually, but then it's kind of difficult. So I create some flexibility and probably break them into 2 hours. So you most times might not be spending all your time in school. You most time might not be spending all your time in school. So you just do the necessary, the most important stuff, and go back home and go and sit down with your system and learn. Because at the end of the day, there will be no excuse for not learning or developing yourself personally. So that's just it. Yes, most of the time there is an amount of attendance you must make in class for me as a nursing student before I can write exam. Of course, I keep up to that and I ensure that they are up to task. And concerning practicals about my department, as a medical course, I have to go to the hospital to do the clinic and all. You have to stick to them because you must not miss them. I keep up to that. So then that means I have to like, if I get home by 6 in the evening, sleep after doing everything, I have to sit up probably the 12 and 1 in the midnight and do my things. And the fact that it's freelancing gives me that flexibility because I can choose whenever I want to work. So that's just how it is.
All right, thank you very much. Is Carrie there? Okay, so we'll get Carrie back when he joins. I think his video seems paused. So we have a question on the group chat. Sorry, on the comment section. It says, in situations where you sign NDA on almost every project you work on, probably because you got chance to get a few gigs months into your journey, and you don't have something big and good enough to show the client to get accepted on freelancing job platforms, what do you do in this case?
Okay. You most times just need to communicate with the owner of the project that okay, this thing as a beginner, I have to include something in my portfolio. And I've been working with you for a while. And okay, which part of this application I built that can signify I worked on this, or probably we work together. So you have to like communicate with them. If they give you space to include it, include it. If they don't, then I think you have to let it go. But first, tell them about it, that you want to include it and let them know. Most times they give you the chance to include some parts.
Well, that's basically that's enlightening.
So I want to say that that's the official way of doing things. Well, I'm going to tell you the admirable way of doing things in this kind of case. If you have an NDA signed on the project, you want to do two things. You can do two things actually. You can one add the portfolio to your add the project to your portfolio. But like in your you can only do this way you have a personal website. So the project, that particular project is locked, passworded, and anybody that needs access to that project, you have to give the person a password. So the project is not open to the public. It's only to people who are looking to hire you, and you're very sure they're looking to hire you, so that you send them the password personally, and only them have access to that project. So if your hiring manager, the person looking to hire you, HR of the company, or the person screening you, is the only person that sees the project, it hasn't really gone out. Nobody will know. The person said the NDA, which you don't know. So how do you want to know? You can't know.
Nobody will
That's
know.
one. Two, the other way of doing things is add the project to your portfolio, but change a few things. Remove the name of the project, remove many of the details that will tell that the project is the kind of project, this is the project you did, such that anybody visiting the website, or even the person that gave you the job, if he visits the website or sees that project in portfolio, he cannot really tell if that's the project you did for him, because you've changed the details of the project. Just leave the important part, the things that tell the person looking to hire you that you can really do the kind of job. So yeah, that's the two ways of agreeing.
I'm sure Nigerians like violence. That Agbero style might, might be everyone's go-to. But thank you very much, Karen. So let me put this question out there. This will probably be the last question because of time. And then if you still have questions, you can drop on the group chat. Or sorry, on the comment section. We might probably be able to take one more. But now to the pata of all questions. How do you decide pricing? So like, how do you like decide pricing for a particular project? Like, how do you know not to undercharge and how not to overcharge? Do you have like standard schemes? I heard someone who does freelance tell me that for job base pay is 200k. Like no matter what you want to do, there's this base pay of 200k. Then you can now start talking of whether you want to add implements, maybe you want to design 6 screens, there's money for that. If you want to um, add API integration of Twilio or whatever, there's money for that and things like that. So how do you decide pricing, and how would you advise people starting out to be able to decide pricing and pricing?
Okay, so first of all, pricing is based on vibes for the most part. It's based on how you feel that day. But you should, first of all, you should know your worth. You should know what you are supposed to collect or charge. Like even if you are doing the same, if two people are doing the same project, but one is really experienced and one is not really experienced, they won't charge the same thing for the same project. So know your worth. If you know your worth, that's when you can have like a base fee of what you can never go beyond, and then you can build on top of that. Then you also have to consider how long the project will take you to do, or how hard the project it is to implement. So what are the things that you need to do to get a project to be done? Considering all of these things might now like affect how you charge the client, and then what fee you give to the client. But still, so many times it's still just based on vibes. And you might want to experiment with you might also want to experiment with your clients, kind of like throw out a feed there and see how he reacts to it, and then adjust based on that. Or you might ask what other people usually charge for this kind of project. So if you have friends in the same field, you can just ask them what they charge for the project, and then set your own price around that range too. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Karen.
Okay. On the charging of clients, there are different ways to this thing. There are some projects that is an already ongoing project, and you're just required to probably add features and some other things like that. There are some projects that you build from ground up. There are some projects that you work with other developers that they already have. It's freelancing. They are all freelancing. So what you have to consider first is what you said initially, that first thing I do is just ask friends. Okay, let's say you want to do this in a month. How much will you collect? I get the idea from probably 3 to 5 people. After getting the idea, then I bring it to my own level that okay, from my own perspective, can this be enough for me after removing my expenses, my data, my my power, probably if I want to use generator and my upkeep for that time, can it be enough? If it is enough, then then I'll add my profit and what I think I worth to the money. So if you are charging based on feature, I've worked with a client like that. That's okay, we just come. This feature, I want to view this feature, blah 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 blah. Estimate me on how much you will charge. So you charge based on that. I mean, it totally depends on you. But make sure you ask people if you don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much,
Oh,
Bobby.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I said
so
most
like
times it's just better to sit it. Oh, got cut off at some point. I
yeah.
said most times it's just better to say the higher price and let's negotiate than saying the lower price and them agreeing instantly. So that's just it.
Okay, good, good. Thank you very much. So based on what you said, I have question. Maybe like if what if like what if you like get a client that wants you to like decide an amount like immediately? Like they want you to do it that day, like not I'll give you feedback by next week or something to decide. What do you do at that point in time? Like do you enforce that they actually give you some time to think about whether you take on a project or
Yeah, yeah. You enforce that. Tell them to give you space. Let tell them that you want to estimate. Even sometimes you can even prepare a quotation. This thing, this feature, and this thing, this whole thing you want to do. This every single thing, map it out for them, and you work. So you can do that. It's very necessary, at least.
okay, thank you very much.
So I want to say that what you can also do is that the client is very stubborn. You can also give him a stubborn price. Just give him a ridiculous price. He will be the one that will tell you that he's going to get back to you. So that gives you more time still. So
Okay,
if normally you think that the price is going to cost like 100K and the client saying he needs a fee right now, just tell him 300. He's going to go and come back and then give you more time.
Yeah, that's very okay too.
thank you very much. Two questions, and that will be all. Sorry for dragging your time this much. So we have Emmanuel Chukwemeka. I'm going to answer this question because it has been answered before, and then if I make any mistakes, you guys can correct me. So for first timer, if you're talking about like freelance platforms, first of all, you have to really work on your profile. Make sure that your description is very specific. So don't go with general titles like Python developer or web development or stuff like that. Go with very explicit titles like go into details. So script web scripter with Scrappy, mention your tools and things like that. Another very important point is to always like display your work. So always show your work. Like use every opportunity you have to display your work. Um, use social media platforms. Always post your work on your status. Let your friends know. Let people know that this is what you do, and that is a good way. And then work on some projects to actually build a portfolio if you don't have any. So we have Timlane Omolana, and he says, personally tried to join Sunga as a freelancer after speaking with the ambassador at Dev First, but I didn't take it and source control seriously all my years until this. So when my PC got stolen, I lost projects. Now, how can I prove my experience apart from my resume when NDA holds my other projects down?
Okay. I don't know if that has been answered.
No, I just asked it as from the comment section.
Okay. So most times when you use your projects like that, you sometimes have to reduce some personal projects on your own because it won't take you so much long. And if you feel you still have the contacts of people you've worked in the past and you probably signed an NDA, you can tell them that okay, this is what's happening now. You're on for a job search and you probably need projects to include on your portfolio. Can you include this? So you can ask them. But if you see none of that is possible, then I feel you just have to like rebuild some of the projects you lost and make use of Git this time.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. So we've come to the end of this session, and I would like to thank everybody who stayed to the end. Special thanks to our speakers for actually making our time on short notice to be here today to enlighten us about freelancing. Thank you very much, Carrie. Thank you very much, Bulu. It was really nice to have you here, and I personally learned a
Thank
lot.
you.
I'm sure it's the same for everybody. So thank you all for joining. If you'd like to join the community of like student developers, that is GDSC, which stands for Google Developer Students Club, and this particular chapter is for Unilag, you can just follow the link that I'll be dropping on the chat right now, and you can sign up to join our chapter, and you always get like alerts for events like this when they are happening. And also you have network of like developers that you could add to your network, mostly student developers though, but you have a network of student developers that you can add to your network, and you can communicate with and grow it together. So thank you everyone for joining, and this was a very beautiful session. See you guys next time. Bye everyone.
Yeah, but